Alright, so everybody's been asking me to do a tutorial on how to make these cute little card boxes. So I'm going to give it a try, but again, I just wanted to show you. And this is the box that I made the other day with these cute little coordinating cards. Put that back in, and it folds out like this. And then you can do something like this around the outside to hold it all together. Ah, stuck on my finger. There you go. Position your bow wherever you like it. You can put it up on top, you can put it down the bottom. There you go. Another one that I did yesterday, I haven't embellished it yet. This, and I did a little Velcro closure. Again on the same thing. Hold your note card, 6 note cards, and a couple envelopes. This one also has not been embellished yet. A little Velcro closure. Great for your little Christmas cards. And you can do Velcro closure and a ribbon if you wanted. I was just thinking, if people take off the ribbon, they're not going to want to retie it. So you need a way to keep it closed. Now this particular one I made with 2-sided cardstock. The one we're going to do today is only going to be single-sided cardstock. But you can do it with either. That gives it a nice little flare when you open it. Otherwise, you just have the single-sided. So what you're going to need for this project, I've gone ahead and prepared or pre-cut my embellishments, and they're off to the side over here. We'll get to those in a little bit. But you're going to need a paper trimmer. You're going to need a score buddy. This one does both. And if you have one of these, that works also. If you have a stamping platform like this one, hold on, I'm trying to get that to balance. There we go. If you have a stamping platform like this one or the Misty, I found that it helps greatly in doing this project. We're not going to be doing any stamping per se, except for maybe my sentiment later, and I won't be using this for that. But I will be using this to assemble the card, and I'll show you that neat trick. So I'm going to put that aside for right now. I have my glue out, glue of your choice. You're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. And I've chosen this pattern. You can see it's got some pretty foiling going on there. So you need 2 pieces of that. And you need 3 pieces of coordinating 8.5 by 11. So I've got 3 pieces of that here. So to start for the card, we're going to put one of the 12 by 12s aside, and I'm just going to put these just off to the side. We're going to grab them in a minute. I'm going to take out my paper trimmer. Now this particular cardstock came out of a book of cardstock. If you notice, it has the hole in the top. This adds an extra 1/2 inch to the top of the paper. So this way it's actually 12.5 inches going this way, and this way's 12. So we need to cut this down to 12 inches. Which will cut off that little hole and make this a whole piece of paper for us to work with. So this 1/2 inch piece can be discarded. Okay, so now we're left with a 12 by 12, and we can measure that just to make sure. Yep, 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So what I'm going to do with this cardstock is I'm going to cut it in 4-inch strips. So I'm going to cut 3 4-inch strips out of this cardstock. This is our printed. So there's one. There's 2 and 3. That's what I'm left with. 3 4-inch strips. Now I'm going to take them. I should have mentioned, notice my direction of my paper. So this is directional pattern. You do want to cut the lengthwise of that so your strips show with your pattern going in the correct direction. So now I'm going to rotate these to the left. One turn. I'm going to put them back in, and I'm going to cut them to 5 inches. So we're going to have 4 by 5. 1 second. 6 pieces, 4 by, sorry, 5.5. 5.5. I thought that seemed a little off. 5.5. So we're going to cut 1, put that aside, shimmy this up, and 5.5. So you're left with this paper actually worked out very well. I'm left with this little strip here that can be used for something else. So we're going to put that aside. It's not going to be needed for this project. I just love this paper. And we're going to do that to all of these strips. So 5.5 inches. Put that aside. Shimmy this up. 5.5. And put that piece aside. This one, again, we get it up straight. We're going to rotate it half turn to the left. 5.5. We're going to have. Put that piece aside. So now I have 6 pieces of 4 by 5.5 panels. So I'm going to put those aside. I'm going to bring out my coordinating papers. So taking one of these pieces, I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. So I'm just scoring. I'm not cutting. 4 1/4. And then I'm going to move it up to 5 1/4. And I'm going to cut it. This piece we're not going to use. This can be set aside and used for another project. I'm then going to take my cardstock, and once again I'm going to rotate it 1/4 turn so it comes in the long way, and I'm going to cut it in half. So because this is an 11-inch paper, we're going to cut it at 5.5. So now I have 2 5.5 by, I never actually measured this, 2 5.5 by 5 1/4 pieces of paper with a score knife. I'm going to do the same thing again. Putting my paper in the long way, I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to shimmy it up, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5. Now if you have a separate paper trimmer to a scoreboard, you can go ahead and do all the scoring and then go to your paper trimmer and do all your cutting. That's fine too. Because mine is a 2-in-1, it's easier for me to do one then the other and then move to the next piece of paper. So 5 1/4 cut. Put this piece aside, we're not going to use it. We'll rotate this and we'll cut it in half. So half of 11 is 5, so we'll cut it in half at the 5 mark. I'm always nervous when I go to do the cutting. 5 1/2 mark, and that's why. Okay, so half of 11 is 5 1/2, so we're going to cut that. I got 2 more pieces. Bring in my next piece, and on the long side we're going to go 4 1/4, score, 5 1/4, cut. Put those aside. Rotate 1/4 turn. Measure to 5 1/2. Cut. So now we have 6 pieces of scored. You can't really see the score line. 6 pieces of scored paper here. So for right now, I'm going to take my score machine here. I'm going to put that aside. We're not going to. Yeah. I need a bigger craft room. You wouldn't know it, but I just moved into this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do with these, I need to get my little burnishing buddy here. My burnishing tool. I'm going to fold all of these on the score lines and burnish them down. And once you get going on these, I've been making these like crazy. I'm just having a blast with them. And the embellishments that you can do, you can get so creative with each one. And I don't know if they'll sell in my craft fair, but you know what? They make nice gifts for people if you need housewarming gift or what have you. So now you have 6 of these with this fold on here. So now I'm going to bring in my score buddy, my stamping platform, and I'm actually going to remove the top. This one has the removable top. If you have the Misty, you can just fold it out of your way. Whatever you want to do there. And I'm going to rotate it upside down. So this corner, see how you've got this groove in here? So that corner is facing my right hand side. And I'm going to take my piece of paper, this one, and I'm going to sit it right in that corner with my flap up. Then I'm going to take one of my panels here. Now this is going to be the top of your card. If this is facing this way, your fold will be on the left hand side. This is the top of your card. This is the right hand side of your card. This will be the top of your card. So if you put this in here with your directional paper, you want to put that into that corner with the top of your direction. You want the top of that facing that same top corner as your paper. So you've got your fold away from you. The left hand side of your card's facing away from you, the right hand side's facing towards you, top to the right, bottom to the left. So this is what this looks like. And I'm going to get my glue. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to get in as close as I can here. I can't zoom with this camera, unfortunately. I'm just going to put a bead of glue right along this line right here. So I'm going to come in here and and I don't need to be precise. This isn't really going anywhere. Hold on. I seem to have a little bit of a clog going in my glue. There we go. Little trick for you. If you get a clog in your glue like that, just very gently grab. Oh no, look what just happened there. I pulled the pin right out. Okay. Well, we're still going to do this. So I'm just going to put a bead of glue right along. Ah, that's so funny. That still works. Right along there. You can just barely see it in the video. Then I'm going to come along here on this top edge here. I'm going to put in another bead of glue. And again, you don't have to be perfect. See, my hands are all shaky. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to make sure it's all lined up correctly. And I'm going to fold it down. And I'm going to glue that into place. And if you want, you can take your bone folder and you can give it a little mush, because that'll help to mush that glue underneath there and get that all situated. So what we're left with is this. That's your card. Isn't that cute? So I'm going to set that one aside, and what I'm going to do, sorry about this, you can't have a video without things going awry. So since my bottle broke, I got all these off of AliExpress, and they're just bottles with tops, and they have the little stopper thing for the top, and they're not very expensive on Ali. If anybody would like, I can find the link and send you the link. So since my top broke there, I'm going to go ahead and remove that top and put this new top on so we can continue with our project. Okay. So again, my platform facing me, the corner in my left, put the top to the card to my right, with the right hand side of the card facing me and the fold away from me. I'm going to take my pattern paper, rotate it so the top of the pattern is facing my right, and we're going to put that in that corner. I'm going to adhere that down. If you want, you can put a piece of washi tape on here to hold it a little bit more securely than the magnet. Sometimes I find that my hands pull things out of whack even with the magnets there, so sometimes I will put some washi tape down. And then I'm just going to put in my bead of glue and another bead of glue, and I'm just going to fold that in place. And I'm going to do that for all of my panels. I just love these pattern papers. I've got thousands of them. And we had a local craft store here. I don't know if people had it in your areas. You probably did. I know they used to have them in Tennessee. I'm in New Hampshire now. But they were very big up here in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. AC Moore's, and they went out of business. And I made sure I went in there and I grabbed as many pattern papers as I could get my hands on, as well as other craft supplies when they were going under. So I've had this stuff sitting here, and I've been wondering, what am I going to do with all of this? It's like, I liked it, it was pretty, but what am I going to make with it? So this project is actually perfect for it, as long as they give you enough pieces. Unfortunately, I ruined a few when I first started working this whole bit out, because I'd goof, and maybe it only came with two 12 by 12 pattern pieces in the block, so I couldn't start a new one. It wasn't like I could put it aside and grab another 12 by 12 and keep going. So I'll just use those cards for something else. Let's see, this works out very quickly. It's just repetition is really what it comes down to. Okay. So now our cards are done. So put this aside for right now. So I want to do some embellishments on these cards. So I have pre-cut. I thought we've got bumblebees on there, or bees. So I have pre-cut, for time's sake, some hives and some little bumblebees and some more hives. I've got some what do you call it here, the dimensional dots, and some dimensional tape and some sentiment strips. So what I thought we could do is take one and play with it. So I've got kind of like a hivey thing going here. I thought this was really cute, and I thought we could take and we could put this hive, we'll need to get put together, and put that off to the side, maybe with a little bumblebee up here, and a sentiment going down along the bottom. Like that. I don't know. Is that too much? I don't think so. I think that's actually kind of cute. Move that up a little bit more. I think that's cute. What do you think? Okay. So let's go with this. So we're going to go ahead, and a lot of this at this point is going to be redundant. Feel free to fast forward ahead to the making of the box. What I'll probably do is just embellish this one, and then I'll move on to the box, so you're not sitting here watching me put all these together. So let's see. So I've got this nice little hive thing, and I'm going to just center that right across the whole card. It's just a tape runner. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to now on this guy I think I want to put glue. I'm going to put glue on him because he's going on to this, and actually I'll put a little glue under here. Hold that down a little bit. And up here. I probably shouldn't have used my tape runner on that. Sometimes glue is just better. Okay, there we go. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do some glue. And you don't need a heck of a lot. Just go around the out edge and then just kind of do a squiggly in the middle. You'd be amazed at how well these tiny little beads of glue adhere. We want that up pretty high because we want room for our sentiment. And even them out. And then we have our little hive. I've had these hive dies for 100 years, it seems like. And it again was one of those alley purchases. I saw them and I said, oh, those are just absolutely adorable. I just have to have them. And then they sat here and I didn't know what to do with them. I'll take this. Help me line up my hive. There we go. Isn't that cute? And then my little bee, I thought we'd make him sit up. So that's why I got out my little dimensional buttons. And these little ones are the perfect size to sit right behind his head. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They just jumped right off the sheet. They just want to be used today. Yeah, that one stuck down rather poorly. So I'm going to rip that one off of there. I'll go grab that other one. There we go. That's better. And where's my little picky tool? Take my little picky tool. This isn't the right picky tool, but I've got lots of picky tools. Okay, so I'm going to get that off of there. And I just figured we'd just take this little bee and we'll just stick him right there. What do you think? Isn't that cute? And then we've got this lovely stuff here. So for this, I'm going to utilize oh, it's right in front of my face. It's like I know I had it out here. I'm going blank. Just some two-sided tape. I'm just going to put that down underneath there. Get my scissors. And cut that off of there. And oh, there's my good picky tool. Alright, so I'm just going to take this off of there. And line this up underneath. See, again, I'm holding up. You can't even see it. Yeah, again, I love this paper. Look, these guys just line up here. It looks like they're trying to... It's beautiful paper. Absolutely beautiful paper. Okay. And then I'm going to make these dimensional. So I'm going to use the dimensional two-sided foam tape. So first I want to stamp my greeting. So what I decided to use today, these are from Alley, and I don't remember which store, but I'll try to find it if you want it, if they still sell it. And as you can see, these are well loved. Some of the ink colors I have are hard to get off, and some of these don't even want to stick to the plastic anymore. But I thought we'd go with just a note. Okay, and I've got a stamp block here. I'm just going to put that down there so it doesn't get dusty. And I'd like for this one, I'm going to just come in at a diagonal, only because that stamp fits better on there at a diagonal. And I'm gonna get out my ink. I'm gonna stamp him up. And we'll just put just a note. Perfect. Now this is dye ink, so it dries very fast. So that's dry already. And I'm going to turn that over. And this is a brand new roll of dimensional tape. So I'll go ahead and take that off. And I probably need not too much. Well, that should be good right about there. Just a strip. And line that up, put that on there. There we go. I love adding dimension to cards. Whether it's embossing folders to add some embellishment, or whether it's adding foam tape. There we go. So there's my cute little card. So I'm going to put that aside now. I won't bother you with putting all the rest of these together. I will do that off camera. Unfortunately, I can't pause my video, because I could pause it and then come back would be great. But I can't pause my video. I'm not set up that fancy yet. Eventually I'll get there. So I'll put that stuff aside, clean up my workspace here a little bit. Give us a place to work. Because now we're going to put the box together. I'm going to need scissors to put the box together. I'm going to need the glue. I will not need my pokey tool. I do need my bone folder. I do not need my reverse tweezers. I do not need my ink or my ink stamp. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to bring in my other piece of cardstock. I'm going to take my stamping platform and move that aside as well. And I'm going to bring back in my paper trimmer. So again, this particular type of cardstock is really 12 by 12. I don't think that's quite a half. It's probably more of a quarter. But we've got to cut off this top edge here that has that hole in it, because that's keeping us from being a true 12 inches. So if I come in here now and I cut that piece off and I make this a 12-inch piece of paper, we can toss that piece. Okay, so with my, we're going to do a lot of scoring. We're not going to use the paper trimmer in this case. We want the score buddy. So actually for this one, I'm probably going to put this aside so as to not confuse. And I'm going to pull out my score buddy. How's that? So putting the paper in the top corner, and I always get this wrong, so this time I'm going to try to get it right. With our directional pattern facing the top of our scoreboard, we want to take our bone folder, or our scoring implement. I know some people use the stylus. I have one here somewhere. This one's too small, but some people use the stylus. I like using the score tool that came with my scoreboard. I want to score at 3 inches. All the way down. And then I want to score at 9 inches. So you've got 3 inches and 9 inches. Then you're going to take your paper, and once again, we're going to rotate 1/4. So now the right hand side of your paper, further directional, is facing the top. And the top of your paper is now facing the left hand side of your board. And from here, we are going to score, if I can get this right, we're going to score at 4.5. We're going to score at 5.5. And we're going to score at 10. I'm second guessing myself here, people. So what we are left with, and I don't know, yeah, you can see my score marks. So what we are left here with is you've got 2 small blocks here in each corner. What looks like close to a 5x7 inch, not 5x7, but you know what I mean. Oh no, it could be 5x7 actually. 5x6, 4x6. Anyway, a long strip, a piece here that mimics the top as far as sizes go, and then down the bottom we've got these 2, if I can get that angle just right, you see that score mark there? You got 2 of these tiny corners. They're smaller than any of these other ones. We're going to cut these corners completely off. And what I can do here, since we're going to cut them off, it doesn't matter, I'm going to mark them off for you so you can see. So this area all in here is going to get cut off. Okay? And then I'm going to rotate my paper, and this area all here and all in here, that's going to get cut. Take my scissors, and right on that score mark, I'm just going to cut. And then I'm going to cut. Try to get it straight. I'm not good at fussy cutting. Honestly, if I had a die that would cut this corner out, I'd be using it. Let's see. I have very, very shaky hands. Although they've gotten better over the years. They used to be a lot worse. You might find that if you fold on the fold lines on the score marks first, it might make it easier for you to find where you need to cut. And that looks good. So this is what I am left with. So I am now going to take this piece of paper, I'm going to put it back in my score board. I know I keep calling it a score buddy. I've been watching too many videos. And with it back in here, I'm now going to come along and I'm going to score at the 11-inch mark. So I'm going to come up here at 11, and I'm going to run my bone folder down, and I'm going to catch the paper, and I'm going to give this an 11 score. Starting at the 11, rolling it down, and giving it an 11 score. So now this is what I'm left with. And I'm going to fold on all these fold marks. So I want to fold, I got to think about this. I want to fold away from the design. So if this is going to be the design on the front of your box, you want to fold away. So if you're using double-sided cardstock, make sure you get it folding in the correct direction. I'm going to fold all of these down, and I should be burnishing this. Give it a good crease, a good fold. So far this is easy. We do come to a difficult part in about 2 seconds. And I hope I'm going to be able to show you how I do it correctly on this video, so that you'll understand it. Let's see. Alright, so this is what I'm left with. Okay, I've got 2 folds going up here on this smaller part. I've got this funny kind of fold here going here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and if you see this score mark here, we've got the 2. We've got one at our 4.5 and one at our 5.5 inch section. I'm going to take this bottom one, the one that's closest to me, that score mark, and I'm going to fold it over so it lines up with this edge of the card, or this edge of the paper. So that's, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put my finger in there to kind of give it a crease mark. And I'm going to fold this over my finger, and then I can move my finger out. I'm going to line that right up with the edge of my card, and then I'm going to burnish in that inside. Now that that's there. So get that bone folded nice and in that corner, and bring that out and bring that in. So this is what you end up with. It's folded over to meet up with the card. Then I'm going to come to the other side. It's easier if we do the bottom and then we do the top. So I'm going to come to this side. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to fold this to the inside. And it's going to be kind of hard for you to see it because you're on the opposite side of me, but I'm going to take this crease. You can see where that is, that crease. And I'm going to fold that down with my finger in that corner. Fold that down over my finger and line that crease up with the edge of my cardstock there. And once that's lined up, I can then come in here and with my finger flatten that out and then press it into place. So again, it just lines up with the edge of the cardstock. Then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put my fingernail in there. And if you don't have fingernails, you don't have a finger, you can put your bone folder in there. You just kind of give it a little burnish, and you're going to fold that down till that lines up with the edge of your paper. I come in here with my finger and my thumb, and I flatten that out, and then I go over it with my bone folder. And I do the same with this one. So I'm going to put my finger there. I'm going to grab this one here at the corner, and I'm just going to bend it down till it lines up with the edge. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to flatten that out. Once I get it where I need it, I'm just going to flatten that out. Okay. So this is what you're left with when you do that. You've got this weird, if you've done it correctly, okay? So now if I open this back up, if you notice here, we've got these triangle type marks here on all 4 of our corners. I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to put it just on those parts. Do not put glue here. Only put it here and here. So I'm going to come in, clean off the top of my glue here. Come in. And again, you don't need to worry about being messy. Nobody's going to see it. So I put glue there. I'm going to put glue here. I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to bring it over and I'm just going to fold it and put, oh, just mangled my card. Fold it down and mash it. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to put glue here and glue here. Don't need a lot, just enough to make sure it's going to stay stuck down. And again, I'm just going to take that and fold it over and glue it down. So now what I have, if I fold this up, I have a pouch. You see? And then this closes. And then we can embellish the outside. So what I thought I'd do with the outside is I've gone ahead and I've made a belly band. And what I did to make that belly band is I cut a 1-inch strip of black cardstock. I then brought it into my scoring tool and I scored the same dimensions as we used for the box itself. So I scored it at 4.5, I scored it at 5.5, I scored it at 10, and I scored it at 11. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold in on all those score marks. I should have said, sorry, this is a 1-inch by 12-inch. It's just a 12-inch. So basically we're taking the same dimensions as that box and we've just made this belly band. So then I'm going to take and that score mark here, I'm going to line it up with the edge of this paper here and I'm going to glue that in place like that. So if I come around here and I flip it this way and I take that little tiny tab between the 10 and the 11, no, between the 11 and the edge, sorry, and I just put my glue in there. Alternately, I didn't even think of this, I could have put a Velcro dot right in there. So we could have made this an operational. That would have been cool too. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to glue that down. And I'm going to take my card back, or my box back. I keep calling it a card. My box back. Now, theoretically, if my dimensions are all correct, this baby should slide right on here. Probably needed to make it a little bit longer. That's okay, we're going to get it. Got it. Okay, and that'll hold that closed. And then I can go ahead and I can embellish this some more. I can add, you know, another hive to the front of this belly band and do whatever I need to do. But my cards, as you can see, will fit right in here. I've got envelopes around here somewhere. Here's some envelopes. I only have 5. I need to add one more, but let's see. Here's some envelopes. Like that. Isn't that nice? With our little belly band and some, make sure that's at the top. There we go. Isn't that cute? And then I can come in here, add another hive, maybe right there, and put a bee in the hive, and we got that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I want to thank you for your time. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you. And happy crafting!